Microphone isn't working. There we go, my microphone is working. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to the final round of your season 22. This year finishes here. We have one more day of racing, and that will be it for season 22. For our first season on this cycle. What next season will entail, who knows? What we will know is we will be getting cars out on track. But what we do know right now is that we do have cars out on track right now, and it's going to be the final race in the PC Tier 2 season. My name is Joseph Black. I'll be taking you through all of the action this evening, and I say all because I'm the only one here. So apologies if this gets a little bit chaotic, if there's a little bit of carnage going on. I know that, of course, the stream has started slightly late. We do apologise for that one, but I've had to set it up. I've had to make sure that it's all running correctly, and that is hopefully what we've been able to achieve. But if you have a look at the qualifying splits at the moment, we've got under 10 minutes left, and well, Casper Flash is just invalidated on his lap that was purple in the first sector. So slightly disappointing for the V car, but he's going to come around again and going to try and do something again. But yes, if you look at the lap times that have been set already, it's Aaron Raminguez who has taken that pole position. Lucas Beisner is currently almost exactly a tenth off of him for that first place. Then it's the two V-Carbs, third and fourth. Cameron Dowd's a new BRC signing, and Casper Flash in fourth place. Then Pasquale Ranieri and JST Aladini Lefloco, who I will work out what it is because I'm not going to say that whole name all evening. And then Zalan Bieda, Dennis Langrock rounding out the .7s, then Florian Fanzelter and Isaac Leet rounding out the .8s, Onyx Mur, which is of course Matthias van Erven, and then Matthias van Erven rounding out the 106s, Jeremy Galonier in 13th place, Tom Roberts in 14th, Sergio Sabrino in 15th, Alexi Cavero, the only other driver left in qualifying, in 18th, and Cameron Dowd to the top, Dennis Langrock to 3rd place as the second runs are underway, and we're watching on with JST, the German driver, the only reason I was able to get in. So thank you to Jay for being able to get me to join this lobby. Please let me know, by the way, if there's any sort of audio problems that are going on this evening. It is kind of make it up as we go along. So we'll have to wait and see what is going to be able to happen from the streaming perspective. But hopefully we should be all good. And yeah, we're going to be all sorted. We're going to be all good. And we will get the action underway. Well, the action has already been underway for a while, but it's hotting up right now. We'll watch on with Lucas Beisner in the meantime. Of course, JST could have the possibility to go up with Aaron Raminguez, but Lucas Beisner is in the best position to do so at the moment. 4th place. He was 2nd place after the first runs. What's he done in the first sector? It's a 0.066 for the Aston Martin, for the Thomas Engers Sim Racing driver, who wants to be the highest Thomas Engers Sim Racing driver in the room right now. And that has just been taken off him by Dennis Langrock, who's fitted into 3rd place, and they are both on the same row of the grid as they stand. But if Lucas Beisner is able to find any more improvements, he'll be thrown up the order. But he's been thrown down the order by Florian Fanzelter, who slots his way in the middle of those two, pretty much bang in the middle, and they've been pushed ever further down. Pasquale Ranieri has been able to set the fastest time of all. What Sergio Sabrino able to do will go off board then with the McLaren, the Mercedes, and the Mercedes up to the line, front row for himself. That's an Alpine into the pit lane. Beisner around the final corner. He lost a bit of time in that second sector, and he lost even more in the third. Who's that going to be then coming to the line? That is going to be whoever the second kick Sauber is. He's dived into the pit lane, called his lap to a close. Tom Roberts, the next one to come to the line in the Red Bull. Is he going to be completing his lap? Indeed he is, and Tom Roberts is able to get his first proper lap on the board. He was the slowest of all by 3/10, with Jeremy Galonier just ahead of him. But there we go, he's improved, and Galonier struggling again. He's going to go once again in the VRM car. Alan Bieda around the final corner and ready to come to the line. What is Zalen going to be able to do? He's going to be able to dive into the pit lane. That's what he's going to be able to do. Florian Fanzelter, of course, he's done his lap. He is completed, and he is into the pit lane from 7th place. That is going to be your lot for the moment, at least, in this PC tier. And well, we will see what we are going to be able to do for the remainder of the evening's action in terms of bringing somebody in alongside me, potentially. Maybe not, but hopefully so, to see another person watching on with this action. Alexi Cavero has just started on his lap with just over 5 minutes to go in this racing session, or in this qualifying session. We'll get the racing underway very shortly. 36 laps of Brazil will be soon to be underway, and well, we've got Alexi Cavero at the moment heading through, trying to get his first valid one on the board. Of course, just before those 36 laps, they're going to get 3 or 4 laps out there to try and set the fastest time possible. That's how qualifying works. Jeremy Galonier slots his way into the top 10. Gabo Shontos, Luca Rapassa and Tamas Kenny will be starting from the back of the field. Various different reasons for that one. I think one of them has a qualifying ban. I think the other two just simply decided to retire and start from the back. Cavero then 50.8 in the second sector, and he's going to come around the final couple of corners to finish off his lap, and he'll hope that it's going to be at the very minimum a 106, because the slowest time of all is just inside the 106s. That is Matthias van Erven. Cavero, 12th place for himself. He's going to go into the 106.6s, 106.656. Round that up, you know what you get. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Get your predictions in the chat as to what the pole position is going to be, because I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think Pasquale's got a good shout of being in the top few, because obviously he's got that 700th gap over Sergio Sobrino in second place. Aaron Raminga's very close. Actually, second down to fifth, very close together. 200ths separating second and fifth place. And, well, it's just under a tenth separating fifth and seventh. And then Florian Fanzelto, Lucas Bison at exactly the same time. Florian comes out of the pit lane in the hopes of changing that, in the hopes of getting a lap time on the board that will be better than Pasquale Ranieri's current pole position time, which is a 106.378. He's going to want to beat that one, as I just ripped out a chunk of my hair because it was in my headset. Anyway, that's not relevant right now. I'm just having a look. Is it Johanan? What happened to Zorzo? Diego Zorzo made the decision to retire from league racing. Believe it is. No, it's not Johanan. What? Who's in the Williams then? Oh, we've got 19 drivers. Johanan would be the 20th, but he's not there. He's not here. It's actually Ryan Bakker, who is in the who's in the second kick Sauber, or the first kick Sauber, because Gabo Shontos is out of this qualifying session. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason I say that it's the second, and that is because no, Gabo's the reserve. Ryan Bakker is the full-time driver. I was wrong. Ryan Bakker is the full-time driver. He is in the Aladini La Flocco Kick Sauber car. And I've said that twice. I still don't know what it means. I hope that it's nothing bad. Anyway, coming around the final corner to start the first flying lap will be Mr. Bakker himself. And we'll see the Kick Sauber at his peak of performance. Huge lock up into the first corner. That's not going to help him in any way, shape or form. And then he's going to pick up DRS out of the exit of turn number 3 and down towards turn 4 to Cida de Lago, which will be the main zone. And Johanan actually joins the session, but he won't be able to set a qualifying lap. A car very far off the circuit. That's an Alpine out of the way for Ryan Bakker. And, excuse me, the Kick Sauber did not improve in that first sector. What's he able to do in the second? We'll wait and see as he slides his way into the corner. That's going to lose him a bit of time, but it may well help him with grip, with traction on the exit of said corner. Then a couple more to go for Ryan Bakker before he ends this second sector in hopefully what will be an improvement. It has looked like a bit of a sloppy lap. And is that going to be represented? No, because he's improved by a tenth and a half. So what do I know? Around the final corner then for Rayan, and another little wobble, which is going to lose him straight line speed. Rayan Bakker to the line for the final time in this qualifying session, you would imagine, with just over a minute to go. 106.524. So it is a decent chunk of improvement for himself. Is that Aaron Raminga's the next to the line? No, it's his teammate, and his teammate is Isaac Leet, who's just started on his lap. Cameron Dowds is that? Nope, I've got the teammate wrong again. That will be Casper Flash coming through and starting his lap. Alexi Cavero doing the same thing, I think, as he comes to the line. Indeed it is. Then it'll be a McLaren. What is that McLaren able to do? Well, it's going to be Florian Fanzelter does not appear to be improving. Cameron Dowds then to the line. Is it quickest of all? No, not quite. Just a little bit down. Her 0.3 for Cameron Dowds as the final runs will come to an end. It's going to be Dennis Langrock to the line with a 106.564, so not an improvement. Pasquale Ranieri, who's going to go again and see if he can improve on himself. I think a lot of the drivers went for just a warm-up lap to get themselves sorted out. I think that may well have been an improvement. Yeah, indeed it was for JST as well as Zalan Bieda. And Aaron Raminguez, well, he's found an improvement. He's quickest of all, but that lap looks very much under threat by the rest of these drivers. Is that Matthias van Erven? Indeed it is, starting on his next lap. Isaac Leet coming to the end of his, and it's a 106.419 for Isaac Leet. Fourth place for himself. Was that Zalan Bieda? No, it wasn't. It was Lucas Beisner as the checkered flag is waved. And Casper Flash goes up to the front row of this grid. That's a huge, huge improvement from the SCI driver. What is everybody else able to do? Pasquale Ranieri, 7th. Nope. Florian Fanzelter even. 7th place for himself. What else is going to happen? Is that a Williams? Johannan wasn't able to make it to the line. It's Pasquale Ranieri's teammate Dennis Langrock goes up to 3rd, 106.373, just ahead of Ranieri himself, who did not improve. He invalidated on his lap, and that cost him so very much time. Isaac Leet not going to improve either. Sergio Sabrino around the final corner looking to come to the line and improve on his 106.445 that currently puts him in this 7th place. Where is he going to end up? He's going to end up with pretty much exactly the same split. Almost exactly the same split, in fact, as he comes to said line. And, well, he's not going to improve in the end. As I say, Isaac Leet not going to improve, nor is Tom Roberts. Zalan Bieda not going to improve, nor is Lucas Beisner. So that is going to be it for your qualifying session. Aaron Raminguez will be on pole position, and he will be alongside Casper Flash on that front row as the top 5, the top 6 even drivers are split by less than 1/10 of a second. So it's incredibly tight stuff. Lucas Beisner and JST. Well, I mean, I believe it was Beisner in the first runs who was exactly on the 106.576, joint with Florian Fanzelter. Fanzelter improved. Beisner didn't. And now there is 1,000th of a second, splitting 11th down to 13th place. Zalan Bieda, 106.575. Lucas Beisner, of course, set that lap first. And then it was JST who threw a lap in that was, guess what? 0.576, so an incredibly tight little pack there. But yeah, and then Matthias van Erven, slowest of all, unable to pull a lap together. But that'll be it for the first part of this session. That'll be it for qualifying, and it will be the Spaniard, Aaron Raminguez, who takes pole position. Casper Flash will be lining up alongside him on the front row. Then it's Dennis Langrock in P3, alongside his Haas teammate, Pasquale Ranieri. Cameron Dowds couldn't quite find the time to be right up there. The pace that he seemed to have throughout the course of the qualifying session, he's in 5th, alongside Isaac Leet in 6th place. Sergio Sabrino, Florian Fanzelter, Tom Roberts and Rayan Bakar round out the top 10. Then it's Zalan Bieda, Lucas Beisner, JST, Jeremy Gallonier, Alexi Cavero and Matthias van Erven rounding out the those drivers with those drivers who actually set laps. And then it'll be Gabo Shontos, Luca Rapassa, Johannan, and then to round out the field, it'll be Tam Ash Kenny. I'm going to send you to a brief broadcast intermission while I try to find a co-commentator, but the racing action will return very soon. Lights are coming on ahead of the drivers here in Brazil for the final time in season 22. The action is underway, and we've got 2 jump starts, 3 jump starts, so I'm not sure whether that's going to be a lobby restart or whether we are genuinely racing, but it does look as though we are genuinely racing here in Brazil, and it's not a great start for Roberts, Bieda or JST, who've all picked up drive-through penalties to add to their name. So a terrible start then. Genuinely thought that we were having a restart, but as we head down to Desida de Lago, we are very much racing here. Rayan Bakar tries to go through on... there is a bit of contact as Rayan Bakar tried to go through on Isaac Leet and just caught the side of the Alpine. So drama early on in this session. And, well, that is very, very much not what they would have wanted to see. Lucas Beisner now side by side with JST and trying to fight for that 11th spot. Where can Gabor Shontos find an opportunity? It'll be to the inside of JST. Can he make his way through? Well, we'll be very, very tight. And in the end, looks like JST might just have the edge on that one. It will continue down to the final corner. It will continue down to the start-finish straight. And Gabor looks like he's got the exit. He's got the run on JST. He makes his way through. Aaron Raminguez, though, leads from pole position. And that is a very good start from himself. Just being able to build up that gap of about 0.4 of a second as they head to the end of that lap. Florian Fanzelter into the pit lane, DNFing already in this session. Unfortunate then for the McLaren, but I don't know if we would have seen that message pop up at the bottom of your screens. Josh Richards has joined me in the commentary box, and Josh, I mean, it's perfect timing really that we've thrown it straight back into the session, and well, it's great to be back alongside you.
Yeah, just very quickly hopping over from the Tier 4 stream, just finished up with that, and now here for some more racing in Sao Paulo once again. Pretty decent start to the race though for all of the drivers as we're making our way through. Quite a tricky track for drivers to overtake. I think strategy going to be a crucial one for the drivers here tonight.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the case that strategy tends to be what will have the edge for these drivers, especially in this level where they are split by not very much at all. And I believe, actually, I'm going to mute that. There we go. I think that's going to be a little bit better. I think that's going to solve any audio problems we may well have. But Aaron Raminguez in the lead of the race on medium compounded tyres. The top 3 all on a set of the mediums. And then Pasquale Ranieri and Cameron Dowd, the outliers in the top 8 with hard compound tyres on. Then Isaac Leet and Gabor Shontos, they've both gone for the hards as well. And, well, this looks like Rayan Bakar trying to make the most of his, while he still has the opportunity to. There was contact between himself and Isaac Leet earlier on, and that cost both of them a decent chunk of time. But now Rayan Bakar is currently down in 14th place. He didn't get contact between himself and, well, he didn't get damage even from the contact between himself and Isaac, but I believe Isaac might have a front wing end plate missing. Indeed he does. The front right end plate for Isaac Leet is missing, and that's really going to cost the Alpine start.
Yeah, it's unfortunate stuff to see, especially right at the start of such a long race, still 33 laps ahead of all of these drivers, and having that damage just, yeah, it's going to compound over the race and cost a lot of time. Unfortunate stuff. Maybe going to see that repaired, but often that takes you well and truly out of contention. But once again, up the hill towards turn 1 we go. DRS enabled, of course, which will help close the gaps. But nobody really close enough for a move just yet, unless you're very brave on the brakes. Thomas Kekenyi getting a bit close as well. P11, not close enough for any moves, though, this time around.
Close enough for any moves at the moment, but of course the double dose of DRS before the first little chicane and then after the first little chicane as well is going to be very, very helpful. It's going to aid the driver, I think, in trying to make said overtake. As, well, Raminguez and Castelfasco, they are closer than they ever were before, 0.3 per second, splitting those top 2. Everybody in the top 16 still within DRS range, and everybody behind is only out of it because of the drive-through penalties they had to serve right at the start of the race. Tom Roberts has managed to build up a gap to Zalan Bieda and JST at the back, and, well, here's just hope that he will be able to sort himself out and be in a decent position come at the end of the race and just pick himself up, really, because he's cost himself so much time with that small mistake at the start, and well, I genuinely thought we were going to have to have a restart because of the way that the start of this session has gone. But no such, or the way that it went, I thought we were having a restart, but either way, we are not. Lap 5 of this race then, and Aaron Raminguez continues to lead the way. Dennis Langrock looking pretty decent in 3rd place, trying to build up a gap to Pasquale Ranieri, and breaking that DRS. That would be a huge, huge moment in this race.
Yeah, DRS so powerful, probably gaining you upwards of maybe even half a second down the two straights with the DRS enabled. So if you do lose out on that, it can be devastating towards your race. So yeah, going to have to really push, especially in this middle sector on those hard compound tires, to make sure that they can stay within that DRS. Because yeah, I think that's going to be game changing if you have got a break between the top three and all those cars behind. But yeah, quite a lot of those drivers on that 8, 9, 10th of a second buffer. It very quickly could see a break with this train if somebody does make a small mistake.
These drivers at least will be able to be within DRS range come the end of this lap and come the detection zone out of the exit of the final braking zone on the circuit. Pasquale Ranieri closest to losing that one, although it looks like Aaron Ramingas is an absolutely supreme exit, has been able to build up the gap to Casper Flash to 0.888 seconds. We'll see it come down as they come down the main straight and then come down once again as they head through towards the second sector out of the exit of Casida de Largo. We'll keep an eye on Casper Flash's gap here because he's pretty much almost exactly halved it. As he headed into the second of the three center S's, he ended up with a 0.444, and it's not quite been the same. So I think the cornering speed of that Alpine is just about good enough to hold on to it. JST in the meantime has moved past Alan Bieda and into 18th place. And of course that is the fight for the wooden spoon. This might be make or break for this race. Pasquale Ranieri, every time I have a look at this, he goes up to about 0.96, so he will be about 400ths off it. And then as soon as I mention it, he goes back down, and it goes down to about 7/10 of a second. So it's getting very, very close. But yeah, the top three trying to take advantage of those medium tyres at the moment. Pasquale's tyres will really start to kick in around lap number 7, I think, is where the switch would be, and the hard to come the better tyres. It's about riding out this time for Itas driver, and maybe the two teammates might work together as we head over a sixth of the way through this race onto lap number 7.
Yeah, I have a feeling maybe Pasquale running slightly higher wings than the cars in front, which is why he ends up so far behind by the time we do get to the start of the middle sector. But then he's able to gain a little bit of time back, things getting closer once again up at the front. Dennis Langrock under 3/10 off of Casper, not anywhere near close enough though with the DRS train effectively to make a move in towards turn 4. Unfortunately for him, Aaron Ramingas still holding on to that lead up the front. We've got McLaren there, Luca Rapassa down the inside on Tamas Kokeni for P11, gets himself through, but still running side by side up the hill, pulls himself ahead up into P11.
Certainly does, and in the meantime we've had a mistake from one of the drivers further down. Joe Hannon, who joined at the end of qualifying, was not able to get a lap on the board. He has, it looks like, gone around on the exit of turn number 5 and just tried to recover the car. No damage on that Williams. Well, no, in fact there is damage on that Williams, quite significant damage, so maybe the two teammates coming together, it's going to be difficult for Joe Hannon to head through this sector here, just because there's so much front wing damage that you cannot deal with it. It's not at a point where there's too much front wing damage that it's untenable, but it's just a level where he won't want to have to deal with it, but indeed he has to, and the pace disadvantage that he's got means that Tom Roberts is able to pick up the DRS and get even further ahead of JST and Alan Bieda as well. Maybe start to try and reignite his race, but we will see as he heads towards lap number 8 here on Aaron Ramingas. Still 3/10 ahead of Casper Flash, so that gap is being managed very, very well. But on that lap, Pasquale Ranieri ever so slightly slower. So it is getting closer, the split between the drivers. We noticed that on the last lap with Luca Rapassa getting through on Tamas Kokeni on the hard tyres, and it looked like a legitimate overtake, even though Tamas did go slightly wide. But on the whole, it's very much looking like the crossover period right now. And this is where we get the true test of the drivers, where this is basically a level playing field for those on the mediums and those on the hards.
Yeah, I think with the mediums, you're probably looking maybe 6 or 7% a lap. So by lap 10, you're probably starting to hit that big drop off at about 60%. So it's not going to be too much longer before they do start to struggle out there. And then those guys on the hard tyres are definitely going to be looking to reap those benefits. Pasquale Ranieri, he's now only 7/10 off. So he is starting to claw in the top 3 a little bit up at the front of the field. Still not close enough to start battling, but I think that's going to be coming very, very soon. Casper Flesch getting closer once again, but not close enough this time around.
3/10 quicker on the last lap was Pasquale Ranieri. We will see the split now as Tamas Kokeni almost dropped out of the DRS of Luca Rapassa. At the same time, Luca almost out of the DRS of Gabo Shonto. So that is the difference between the drivers. with slipstream and the drivers without slipstream, as everything else pretty much remains equal. They'll have similar levels of front wing, but yeah, it is what it is at this point in time, and the split is very minimal. But Gabble very close to the back of Isaac Leet, who's very close to the back of Lucas Beisner, so this could be where the demonstration of that split really comes into effect. Isaac might be looking down the inside of Lucas. He shaped for one, he shaped for another one, so that's 2 corners in a row, where the driver without the front wing end plate has been faster and has looked for an overtake on Lucas Beisner right ahead. Is he going to go for another one into the final corner? No, he's not, because he's going to try and get it on the exit. He's going to try and really stamp on the power and really try and close in on the Aston Martin as they head down the main straight. We'll watch on board with Isaac Leet as he looks for an overtake, but Beisner's straight line speed looks too much for the Alpine to bear with, and it's too much for Shontos as well, who looks to the inside, and he's able to get through on Isaac Leet. So a very, very well managed move from the RHG driver. He spotted an opportunity and he went straight for it, and it was a very clean move. Now Gabor Shontos is able to be ahead of Isaac Leet, who might not have the optimal setup, as there goes Matthias van Erven in the background, and that is our first safety car of the evening. Van Erven just looks like he lost control on the straight, went straight into the wall in a dramatic crash, and that is going to be the end of Van Erven's evening.
Well, this definitely plays very nicely into our medium runners strategy, probably coming towards the lap where they would want to be coming in for a pit stop. The guys out there on the hard tyres going to have a bit of a dilemma. Their tyres probably looking about 30-40% maybe for the tyre wear. Do they want to come in for a pit stop now, or do they want to stay out and keep going with their strategy? It's going to be an interesting one. Maybe some of the drivers a bit further down, like Tom Roberts, JST, who also I think had some drive-throughs as well earlier on. Maybe they can try and gain some time back by staying out. Of course, they're going to get some time back as well under this safety car. But I think this is going to spice things up a little bit, especially up at the front.
Certainly is, because this is the opportunity for the medium runners that they would have been begging for at the start of the race, where they get the opportunity to come in and make the switch from the medium compounder tyre onto the hard and go to the end of the race. They can do 26 laps. It might be a little bit too long, but it is a possibility. I've seen drivers do it before. I saw drivers do it in another league that we won't mention on Thursdays, but they certainly did so. Cameron Dowds making the switch onto a set of the soft compound tyres. Did he start on the hards, Cameron Dowds? Just having a look to see what he could possibly be coming into the pits for. Yeah, he's made the switch onto the soft. So what Cameron's doing there is he's selected the harder setup at the start of this at the start of this race weekend. What he's done is he's made the switch over to the soft. Tom Roberts is doing the same thing. He's made the switch over to the soft so that he can use up that tyre allocation. Then at the end of this lap, he's going to come back in. Yes, he's going to have much worse track position, but it's a genius plan, because then he can come in, switch to the set of the hard, go to the end of the race. That's exactly what he would have done, and that's exactly what I would have done in the same situation as well. Yeah,
it's definitely a strong choice with the strategy. I mean, you're only looking at losing, well, for Cameron Dowds, it's going to be 6-7 positions on the track. Tom Roberts not even going to lose anywhere near that. He's only going to be losing a couple positions in total, and then they've got the tyres to go to the end of the race, whereas the drivers like Isaac Leet, JST, who have gone for those medium tyres here under this safety car, they aren't going to be able to get to the end of this race. They're going to have another pit stop later on, which may still work out for them. Maybe it will still be faster to do an effective one more stop from here, but it's not the most straightforward position to be in, I don't think, and it's probably not a position you'd particularly be hoping to be in, seeing that all the other drivers around you have the ability to go to the end of the race, and you're stuck out there on a set of the mediums. And in fact, Isaac Leet has actually come into the pits here, so he's going to abandon that one, make his way, I expect, onto a set of the hard tyres as well.
Indeed he is. There you go, Isaac Leet has made the switch, and I'm just having a play with some of the audio settings, so apologies if there's anything that's a bit funny, because as Cameron's dad has rightly pointed out, my audio was low. It was a different microphone it decided to connect to as soon as we were able to get Josh in, and I was just trying to sort that issue. Does that sound better, chat? Please let me know. Josh, you can let me know as well if you like.
Yeah, it sounds better for me.
I've got a headset mic and I've got a physical mic. The physical mic is 10 times better, but I was struggling to make it work as we started this race. Right, thank you, Cameron's dad, much appreciated. And, well, it looks like your son has done exactly what he wanted to do. He's executed that strategy perfectly as Cameron, and he's got 2/3 of the race to go on that same set of hard compound tyres. It's going to be an interesting one to watch from the perspective of the top 4 drivers as well. They've not come into the pits because they started on the hard tyres. They didn't want to take that gamble. They might not have chosen the harder tyres. The harder tyre allocation as they started the race weekend, so it might be an opportunity missed. But, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them as they get back to green flag racing.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to hope for something to come later on in the race to try and neutralise this. If there's another safety car, maybe in another 10 or so laps, it's going to put the drivers on the hard tyres in quite a tricky position because, I mean, they're going to be in effectively the same position. These guys can come into the pits, maybe even for a set of medium tyres potentially, or comfortably go to the end on a set of the hards, and then they've got a pit stop to make, although if they have selected the harder tyre allocation, they're probably in a position to just make that pit stop and head to the end of the race as well.
Yeah, I think that's. I think they're committing to that one stop right now. As Johannon's into the pits again in the Williams. Has he had a front wing change? No, he hasn't. So it's very interesting to see that one as he makes the switch to the mediums. I'm not quite sure what the Williams' plan is. Maybe he just made a pure mistake and didn't make the switch onto the correct tyres. We'll see whether he dives into the pits again. But yeah, it's not looking great for him as Rayan Bakar, who is, by the way, the kick Sauber that is called Aladini Laflocco. Rayan Bakar and Tamas Kokeni swapping positions. Not quite sure what's going on for that 11th spot. Not quite sure who's supposed to be in that position in the first place. But I believe it is supposed to be Tamas, so I'm not sure what Rayan's playing at here. Maybe the game has allowed him through. He's decided to go through, which is, by the way, a penalty by the rulebook. Is Tamas going to go back through and retake the position? He's pushed Rayan wide, so I think Rayan's gone through. Tamas hasn't wanted him to go through, but he's gone through anyway and he's pushed him wide as a result. We are going to get back to green flag racing. Pasquale Ranieri will lead us off to it, and Gabo Shontos will follow him through. But Aaron Dominguez is the driver to keep an eye on here with the fresh set of hard compound of tyres. We'll see what the AMR driver, what the Alpine man is able to do as we will get back to green flag racing. Ranieri's taking his time here, waiting and biding his time. He's going to try and get those brand new hards as cold as he can as he tries to heat up the action once again here in Interlagos. Luca Rapasso has been caught out and Jeremy Gallonier is going to pull alongside him into the first corner. The Ferrari tries to brake later, but the outside line is not optimal into this NRS's, and so Luca gets away with a poor start. Gallonier does not get away with the attempted overtake. Aaron Dominguez finds his way through. That's one of the 4 picked off for the Alpine driver, and now he's got a few more to go as Casper Flash looks for it to the inside. That grip is so much more on the brand new tyres. Gabo Shontos takes the lead of the race. Casper takes 5th.
Chaotic start with all these overtakes up and down the field. Gallonier is dropping like a stone as Dennis Lanrock is now through up ahead as well. Sergio Sobrino also looking to make some moves here in the middle sector. So many drivers looking to try and find their way through the traffic ahead. Lucas Beisner also looking for moves down in P11. Sergio Sobrino still battling with the Ferraris. They make their way through Pico de Pato. Gallonier onto the grass, I think, and going very wide, losing quite a few positions there. So much overtaking on this lap here as we're heading 3 wide in towards the final corner here. Gallonier really dropping, and they're spinning and making contact with Lucas Beisner. That's damage, I think, for the Aston Martin driver. Yeah, not ideal for Lucas Beisner. Does he have damage? We'll see as he goes side by side with Tom Roberts. There is no damage on that car, luckily for Beisner, but there was something flying, so it's definitely damage for somebody. They're side by side. It's 3 wide in the background as that looks like Cameron Dowd's trying to get involved with Bieda and cannot quite do so. More battling between Beisner and Tom Roberts here, and does Beisner have the edge over Roberts? I'm not quite sure, as they are going to be side by side into the next braking zone as well. In the end, Tom brakes so much later and is somehow able to get the car stopped at the same time as Beisner, who is going to be able to go through as I have been kicked out of the VC. I'm not sure why that's happened, but I'm going to try and get myself back in. I'm just there we go, that should be a bit better. Don't know why that's decided to kick me, but indeed it has. But yeah, I mean, we are
almost at the halfway point now, and it very much doesn't feel like this race is decided at all, as that's a huge lunge from Joe Hannon, and it's a huge attempted lunge at least from Joe Hannon that hasn't quite worked. Lucas Beisner holding on to 13th place. Gabor Shontos trying to build up a gap in the lead here, and that's basically the only thing that he can try and do, because as soon as Aaron Raminguez gets his hands on that kick Sauber, he is wrestling his way past.
Yeah, not been as straightforward, I don't think, for Aaron Raminguez. Despite having a 10-lap tyre advantage, he's only been able to make one move so far, looking to try and make a second here on Rapasa through the first few corners. Not quite close enough, though, as I think more chaos further behind. One of the Saubers going tumbling down the order. Not ideal for him. Raminguez going to be looking to try and get himself up into the podium positions very soon.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's going to be as close as ever to Luca Rapasa. Is he going to go for a move in this second sector? It's not usually where they would try to make an overtake. Is he going to break the norm right now? He certainly has the tyre grip to do so, and he certainly has the pressure on his back for him to maybe need to at this point. Casper Flash is right behind him. Dennis Langrock, Sergio Sobrino, Alexi Cavero, all of them keeping him honest. And Jest, he as well. He's got medium, so he will be technically just a little bit faster. Raminguez defending, in fact, from Casper Flash, so he's got that V-carb behind him, really trying to pressure him. They'll try and head around the final corner and stay a line astern. Is Raminguez going to be able to get the exit on Rapasa? The answer is yes. Is he able to put the McLaren between himself and the SCI man right in behind him? It remains to be seen. DRS is open for Aaron Raminguez, but it's not going to be close enough on this lap. His straight line speed isn't great. His cornering speed, though, is where he's going to gain a lot of time, and he's actually locked up, but still managed to get better into the corner lines than Luca Rapasa. So is this going to finally be the move the Alpine's been waiting for?
Definitely seems that Raminguez is struggling for straight line speed, especially down in towards turn 1 and 4. Unfortunately, means that he's struggling to make these moves as well, despite having such a tyre advantage. All these cars effectively able to hold position just by saving battery and deploying it down the straights. The DRS available for everyone, helping everybody out to hold on to their positions for the time being. Is there a lunge, I think, further back? Tom Roberts looking to try and get himself up into the points positions. Damash Kokeni holding on to that position for the time being.
Yeah, certainly does, as Roberts looked like he went wide and looking again to the inside, but that's cost him time, and that's allowed Lucas Beisner to get a tyre in. Roberts squeezes him, and that means that Beisner loses time. Joe Hannon tries to take the opportunity on the outside line. It's going to be later braking for the Williams, but he's not quite going to be able to get through. He might have to do it down the straight, but again, not enough traction for himself. Aaron Raminguez here trying to chase down Luca Rapasa right ahead, but again, it's going to be a struggle for the moves right now, as they don't quite have the straight line speed, but Casper Flash has decided to go for it on Raminguez. Lost time, hasn't quite got the run on him, and this is the difficulty when it comes to drivers being with very similar setups, with very similar strategies. Casper Flash cannot find any opportunity on Aaron Raminguez. He's not got any better straight line speed. He's not really got anything on Aaron that Aaron doesn't already have. They're too similarly matched on times. He's going to have to force his way through, and he might do it on the inside line here into sector number 2. But no, once again, Flash backs out.
Yeah, I think these guys may be struggling a bit with battery management as they're fighting each other, trying to use that to help them make the moves, and it's just allowing the cars in front to kind of coast along. And it's definitely helping them as it stands, as a couple moves further back down the field. Cameron Dowds looking to try and make his way through on the inside there of Zalan Baida, gets himself up into P15.
Yeah, gets himself up into 15th place, and now has Isaac Leet for company. Right ahead of him, Joe Hannon, and just ahead of them too as well, but his tyres are going to start to go off. We're going to be getting a lot of action in the next couple of straights just because of how tightly packed the field is. They have not been closer all race long. Everybody split by just 0.2 of a second, apart from Jeremy Galonier, who's decided to dive in. So this might be the end of the hard stint, or it might just be a signal to the end of the hard stints, as Jeremy Galonier dives in, medium tyres for himself. And, well, we will continue on. Nobody making moves just yet, but everybody threatening.
Yeah, I think maybe just tyre management for a lot of these guys in the mid-pack right now. They want to save those tyres for later on in the race when they can try and make those moves, if they can use that pace advantage. As it stands, it's going to be quite difficult really to make too many moves, as we're really seeing. Nobody's able to get past unless they have quite a significant pace advantage. Lots of battling in towards Bigo de Pato. Lucas Beisner trying to fight with Joe Hannon. Cameron Dowds also getting through on Isaac Leet, but they're off the track making contact, and that's going to cost them several positions, dropping dropping down the order. Lucas Beisner off into the grass, and that sent him down to P15.
Certainly has. Lucas has really not had a great time of it here today, and it's just getting worse as he's now alongside Isaac Leet for 14th place. Joe Hannon to the inside of Cameron Dowds, trying to get his way through, but Cameron just takes the preferred line into what is technically the final corner, technically the main straight, all of the same things at the same time. Joe Hannon still trying to seek an opportunity, but again, cannot quite find his way through. Aaron Ramirez closer to Luca Rapassa than he has been before, but again, no extra slipstream, nothing added to Ramirez is going to be able to see him past the McLaren right now. He continues to try and chip away and force a mistake from Rapassa, but cannot do so. There is really not much space for Aaron Ramirez to do anything on this circuit, and the Alpine still pushing behind. You can see how much better he is in the corners, but the straight lines is where Rapassa has that benefit, and that's why they've gone for that longer stint on the hard compound tyres, regardless of when they came into the pit. That's why they've gone for these stints where they haven't come into the pit lane just yet. I mean, regardless of when Aaron Ramirez comes into the pits, because if you have the straight line speed here, you're going to have to force a move if you're Ramirez. But if Rapassa has the straight line speed, then he's just going to be able to defend it nice and easily, because you can see he's eking out that gap even with the DRS for Ramirez in behind, even with all of that slipstream. So you would imagine it would be relatively even, but no, Ramirez is just not able to gain any places as JST through on Tamesh Kokeni. Cameron Dowds tries to sweep around the outside. Does he do so? It's going to be very tight between them as Dowds does make the move. And is he going to be able to make this a double salvo around the outside to Desida Delago on JST? And that's a very, very good move from Dowds. But Jay is going to fight this one a bit more than Kokeni was able to. But Dowds has the inside line for the next corner, so surely he's able to seal it into the 7th. Yes, indeed, he is. Dowds up to 9th.
Yeah, nice move there, getting himself up the order. He's finding quite a few positions here, of course, was right down at the back after the safety car as a result of the double pit stop that he made. Now into P9 and charging his way through is there. Kokeni looking to the inside of JST. Those hard compound tyres going to be starting to work a bit better than the mediums as we go around the outside through Magulio, trying to stick it out, not quite working out in the end for Kokeni. Roberts now getting in on this battle as well as we head up the hill once again down towards turn number 1. Are we going to see some more overtaking potentially?
Well, we'll have a look at Aaron Ramirez, who's still 3/10 back, but it's actually increasing. Cameron Dowds makes his latest move, and the Welshman continues his fight up the order now through on Alexi Cavero and Sergio Sobrino, the next driver up for himself. But again, Sergio close to Dennis Langrock, so he will have the help of the Haas in this one. Moving to the inside, just trying to shape one, just trying to scare Dennis Langrock into a defence, but could not quite do so. And the exit from the corner from the Desida Delago was sumptuous. There was a small gap, but not enough for a car to fit into, and so he decides to stay right back in behind. That's the main overtaking spot of this second sector. It's a huge lunge, but if you make it, then it really throws the car behind off. Lucas Beisner is going to get through on Rayan Bakar, who tries to fight it back. He's on the inside. He's just not got enough space, but he tried to hold it. Sergio Sobrino fighting with Cameron Dowds for that 7th place. He's made his way through, and Dowds holds on to 8th for the time being. Sobrino defends it, and down the main straight they may come to a fight once again. We will head on to lap number 23, and this infighting between those trying to force their way forward is perfect for those at the top of the field, who now are starting to fight each other. Gabo Shontos and Pasquale Ranieri haven't come into the pit lane, nor has Luca Rapassa, but if the drivers behind continue to fight, they're going to continue to lose time. Some of them might pick up damage, and then maybe one of them might even cause a safety car. That's a perfect scenario. That's a best case scenario for Shontos, Ranieri and Rapassa at the moment, but I'm not sure they'll be able to get it. So it's just about now trying to eke out that gap. And while it's remained pretty consistent at 7/10, that's not quite good enough.
Yeah, I think overall though, this stint has been pretty positive for those who did choose to stay out, considering how things could have gone. They've managed to hold their position, which I think a lot of people would be quite surprised at given the offset in the tyres. But yes, still waiting to see if they can make that work as cars still bumping wheels, running off the track. Lucas Beisner through ahead up into P13. Now Tamas Kenny losing out to making contact and getting spun around there. That's going to cost him. He's down into P17 now.
Yeah, Tamas Kokeni right down to 17th place. Very suboptimal for the Mercedes. Again, that's another driver that's really struggled today. Pasquale through on Gabor in the lead of this race. And that is a switch for the lead for the Haas driver in his favour. And Gabor Shontos dropping down to 2nd place. Dennis Langrock, Pasquale's teammate, looking in a much better position than Pasquale at the moment. But he's in 6th. This is net 3rd if the top 3 do come into the pit lane and don't find their ways through. And yeah, looking further back, Rayan Bakar potentially going for a move, but not quite close enough on Beisner. But yeah, it's all of these are moves that could be made, but aren't being made. That's just what's happening at the moment on the circuit. Is people are threatening, but they're not really doing anything to back it up. Rayan Bakar, moment for this kick Sauber, drops almost to the back of the field. Contact with Kokeni is going to drop him to the back of the field, and I think we may have had our first and hopefully only disconnect of the session.
Yeah, I've just been keeping an eye on Glonier's times. Started on the hards, didn't pit under the safety cars, now gone to a set of mediums. Last time around, he was about 2 seconds a lap faster than a lot of the drivers in the midfield, and about 1.5 seconds a lap faster than the drivers out at the front. He has got some very strong pace, and very soon we'll actually be catching the back of this pack. There still could be a shot, maybe, that these drivers who have gone very long might still be able to get themselves into the fight here tonight.
Yeah, they certainly will. I mean, you think of the likes of... We'll take, for example, Tom Roberts, who's right in the thick of it now. He had a drive-through penalty right at the start of this race, and that could have cost him so much, but instead it hasn't. He's managed to fight his way back. Whilst he might not be fighting for the positions that he would have wanted, he's still very much in the thick of things, and so it's just a case of never give up. Florian Fanzelter. But yeah, we've got 11 laps to go in this race now. We have Ranieri and Shontos and Rapassa controlling the pace, but for how much longer? Those tyres don't have long left in them, but the fact that they've been able to stretch this stint does promise for those who switched when the safety car came out, because they've got 26 laps to do on those hard compound tyres. Ranieri, Shontos and Rapassa have been able to stretch them 24, so there's definitely an opportunity for them to keep these tyres going until the end of this race. Dennis Langrock trying to chase Casper Flash down the straight. Again, no straight line speed for the Haas driver, and this is where the difference between the esports setups and the racing setups comes into play, because if you are good enough with a race setup with better straight line speed, you can be unstoppable.
Yeah, it's definitely a key factor in this race, is the difference in wings. Some drivers opting for that lower top speed, lower downforce, sorry.
Yeah, they do
giving themselves the advantage in the middle sector.
As we've just, I think you've just had a drop. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or if it's yours, but I had a very brief drop in connection, so apologies for that one. But yeah, I mean, it's the difference in setups is very minimal at this level, but it can have a huge effect.
Yeah, and yeah, very soon I think we're going to be starting to see some pit stops for these top 3 drivers. As the 2 Red Bulls battling away through the penultimate few corners. Cavaro looking to try and hold on to that P9 position ahead of his teammate, but I think it's going to be lost here. And unfortunately, Tom Roberts, with a better run with the switchback, gets himself up into P9 now. Yeah,
Tom Roberts is going to be able to get straight on through past his teammate, but is he going to have a fight back into the first corner? Cavaro to the outside, Roberts defending the inside. Big lock-up for the Red Bull, but it's enough for him to stay ahead. Of course, another BRC latest recruit himself, and Cameron Dowd's huge scalps for the team, and looking slightly further back. Cavero, JST and Zalan Bieda, they were briefly 3 wide. Are they going to go 3 wide again? Not quite. They're going to filter out, and it's going to be Cavero leading JST, leading Zalan Bieda. Done very well, to be fair, to stretch these mediums to 16 laps. And, well, I mean, it's not very optimal. I think there's a few drivers who would have been waiting for a safety car. I think he was one of them, and I think he's just gotten unlucky here today. That the strategy hasn't quite played into his hands. But hey, he could have done a Cameron Dowds. He could have switched to a set of the softs and then swapped back. But yeah, it is what it is. Sergio Sobrino through on Dennis Langrock, but Dennis is going to fight this one to the inside and gets right back on through. Sergio tries to force a mistake from Dennis, tries to make him defend very late into the final braking zone, doesn't do so, and so remains in position. But Sergio, in doing that, has lost time to Cameron Dowds.
think I've just realised the strategy for Ranieri, Santos and Rapassa. It is raining here in Sao Paulo. I think they are trying to go as long as possible, hoping this rain comes down hard and going to go for a set of the intermediates.
Yeah, potentially so. We'll see what Leet and Joe Hannon go for as they're into the pit lane with 15 and 16 laps on their mediums and hards respectively. It is intermediate tyres for Joe Hannon and Isaac Leet. We saw this the other day in, well, a fifth tier of a race, of a league that we won't mention, but there was a switch pretty much at this point to the intermediate tyres. And, well, in the end, what happened was the driver that won and the driver that came second place ended up stretching their hards all the way to this period of the race, and then they came in for the intermediate tyres, won the race by an absolute canter. They didn't even get caught up. There was about a 6-second gap between them, and yeah, we'll see what they do. I think it is this lap that they're going to decide to come into the pits. We'll see this pace split between Isaac Leet and Ranieri. I don't think it's quite yet time for those tyres, but if they're on those hards for that much longer, they may explode. They're going to be reaching puncture region, so Ranieri staying out is going to be a huge, huge gamble. All the other drivers staying out with him are Aaron Ramirez, Casper Flash, Sergio Sobrino, then Cavero, Bieda and Co Kenny. They've taken the gamble. Everybody else into the pit lane. It is a short lap around here, so there's not much punishment for staying longer. I don't mind this from Ranieri here.
Yeah, just looking at the sector times, I don't think it's quite time for the intermediates. It's getting closer, but time being lost, I think, in the middle sector for those who went for the intermediates. It's going to be probably this lap or the next lap, and it's going to be a crucial decision, which could be potentially race-defining here. It's going to be really tricky in the wet conditions to make moves as well, so that's going to be something for the drivers to bear in mind. If they do end up losing a position in this changeover, that could be a position they're losing all the way to the end of the race.
Very much could, as well, we will see them coming in. It's going to be even harder to make the overtakes without DRS and with a bit of a slippery racing circuit right ahead of them. Ranieri, is he going to come in to the pit lane on lap number 29? Surely you'd think, because it is very, very wet now on this circuit. Too wet for those hards, and yeah, in comes Ranieri, in comes Ramirez, in comes Flash, Sobrino, Cavero, Bieda and Co Kenny. It's going to be hard for Co Kenny, in fact, because he's got to double stack this one. I think he should have probably come in on the last lap, simply because his teammate already did, or already stayed out, already made that commitment. But yeah, into the pits they're going to come. Is he going to lose any time? A little bit, but not all too much. Where are the drivers fighting with Ranieri? Well, Rapassa, he's heading through the first couple of corners on this racetrack. He's led by Gabor Santos, the other man in the fight, and it looks as though Santos is going to get the jump on Pasquale Ranieri, but it looks like Ranieri is going to come out in that second place. Indeed he is. Aaron Ramirez comes out just behind Luca, as that is going to be swapping in the background. Cameron Dowd's trying to go for a move on Sobrino, can't quite find it, but Gabor has nailed the timing.
Yeah, it really seemed like the tyres switched on as he was making his way into the middle sector, and then he got that entire section of the track just to benefit, reap the reward, and he's managed to pull over a second to Pasquale Ranieri behind him. That's really helping him. He's got retirement in the pit lane, I believe, there, so not something the drivers really need to worry about.
Yeah, not at this point in time, but yeah, it's a very very good drive from Santos if he can pull it off. And Rapassa with those warm intermediates, that's the benefit of coming in a lap early. You're able to warm those tyres up, and Ranieri and Ramirez now, who have to warm those tyres up, are going to take a little tiny bit of time in order to get them fired up, but they will be by the end of this lap. Gabor Santos has played this to absolute perfection. We've seen Rayan Bakar out of the race, unfortunately, but Santos, 2.3 second gap. Ranieri looking to the outside of Rapassa into the first corner, but as we've seen multiple times in this race, that is not the line to go for. You want the inside, you want to be able to push your opponent wide into turn number 2, and that will be Luca Rapassa defending position ahead of Pasquale. But look at this, that is going to be Rayan Bakar getting almost wiped out by one of these other drivers, and they've done a good job in the end to pick up that slipstream and avoid the Kick Sauber, who's right down the end of the straight. Ranieri continues to try and threaten for P2, which means that Santos' gap for P1 is going to just keep increasing.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake for Ranieri, unfortunately, on the lap previously, heading into this corner here, because that gap very quickly jumped up to nearly 3 seconds. It stayed about there, even despite the battling between Rapasa and Ranieri. But yeah, as it stands, Shontos, with just about 5 laps left to go in the race, looking very, very comfortable out in front. And now things are going to get very tricky. No DRS to help you make some overtakes. I guess everyone on a pretty equal playing field. But how much can the drivers push? How well can they make the overtakes? Ranieri's still going to be looking to try and get that second place back, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult now.
Yeah, a little bit more difficult. Lap 32 of 36. And Gabo Shontos continues to lead this way. Luca Rapasa going to try and defend again and again and again. He's done so far in this race. He's done an incredible job, both on the worn hard and on the brand new intermediates in terms of defending against Ranieri. And he's going to have to continue to do so against the Haas driver, but with no DRS to their benefit. This is Luca Rapasa's time to really defend. He's going to have the advantage now of the fact that nobody else has that DRS. He would have been a sitting duck had they, but they certainly do not at this point in time. Casper and Dennis Langrock side by side. This is conditions that Dennis thrives in, and he gets through on Casper as that looks like it's going to be Isaac Leet. No, it's not. It's Joe Hannon who's gone round in the back of the field, so unfortunate for the Williams driver. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting towards the end of this race. And I mean, I mentioned Dennis Langrock's very good in these conditions. He's a big fan of them. I think we might be seeing him fight for even that bottom podium spot right towards the end.
Yeah, you never know. One small mistake in front could really define your race. If you can find your way through, slip through in these tricky conditions, it definitely could change things for you here tonight. A couple more yellow flags coming out. I don't think it's going to matter for these drivers, though, as we continue down. Everybody about 0.6 of a second gap right here in the fight for those podium positions. Everyone just kind of settling into a bit of a rhythm as they adjust to these conditions, get ready for some battles to come in these final few laps.
Yeah, battles will be coming in the final few laps. And Pasquale Ranieri has picked up a 3-second time penalty. That Haas driver has just bottled a podium. That is going to be that for Pasquale Ranieri, who now looks like he's going to drop all the way down to what will be 7th or 8th place in this field. I think it will be 8th place, so Ranieri, massive missed opportunity. That means that the Ramirez against Dennis Langrock, against Casper Flash, if he can get himself back involved, is for 3rd place. And, well, if they can get through on Pasquale, then they can start to fight with Luca Rapasa. Jeremy Galonier and Zalan Bieda have gone off the circuit. Contact with each other means that they're going to be right down the very bottom of this field, and just competitors keep dropping and dropping and dropping. No front wing end plate for Jeremy Galonier. Is there one for Zalan Bieda? There's no front wing at all for the FER man. Joe Hannon retires in the pit lane to leave us with just the 16 contenders for this race. Gabor will lead us on to 34 of 36. The laps are ticking down, but what is ticking up is the gap between the leader and P2.
3.7 seconds now, 0.2 faster on the previous lap. He's continuing to extend that margin. Doesn't look like anyone's going to get close. Casper Flash and Dennis Langrock side by side as they make their way through the CNRSs, through the curve to Sol, still side by side. This could be a crucial battle here as they run down towards turn 4. Langrock not able to hold on here as they run down in towards the braking zone. And I think they're having to avoid another retired car here, unfortunately. Might be getting in the way there of a couple of the drivers.
Yes, potentially so. It's going to be the same case again as it was with Rayan Bakar. 4 seconds now is the gap between Shontos and Rapasa as Isaac Leet becomes the latest to retire. Jeremy Galonier, Zalan Bieda join very quickly afterwards as that is a move potentially on for Cameron Dowds on Sergio Sabrino. He was on the outside line. He couldn't get through. He switched to the inside. That has been more successful for the V-Carb, who slides his way on through. Sabrino, though, tries to seek an opportunity, seeks an opportunity, finds it, and he remains alongside. That is a huge lunge from Sabrino that has paid off. Very, very respectful fight between these two. Banging of wheels as they head into the final braking zone, though, and Dowds squeezes Sabrino. Who gets the better exit of the two? It looks like it's going to be Dowds, who holds on to that 7th place, but no, Sabrino has the better straight line speed. This continues on into what will be the final couple of corners, the final couple of laps on this circuit. Dowds leads. Roberts sends one to the inside of Sabrino. That will switch to the outside, then the inside again for the next braking zone, and there's huge amounts of contact. Roberts is, well, we're not going to talk about what's happened between Roberts and Sabrino there, but what we are going to talk about is the fact that we are on the penultimate lap. We are going to go to the final one. Shontos leads by 4.
Well, even more chaos here in these final few laps. We're down to 11 runners. Almost everybody going to be picking up points here tonight. Gabor Shontos 4 seconds clear up at the front of the field. Timed the pit stop to perfection and hasn't really put a foot wrong since the pit stops were made. Ranielli's still not too far off the back of Rapasa, but that time penalty, unfortunately, going to be quite costly for him here tonight as we get ready for the final lap of this race.
Yeah, we get ready for the final lap, and Gabor Shontos will lead us onto it just as he has done since the intermediate stint has begun. He has nailed this stint to perfection. He must have prepared for it pre-race, because this is a very, very, very good run from the R8G driver, and well, he'll head on to the final lap with nothing really to fight for. Dennis Langrock and Casper Flash have lost a lot of time with Aaron Dominguez ahead of them, so it looks like the AMR driver might be on to take P3, and Casper and Dennis will try and hold on to that 3-second gap between themselves and the Haas driver ahead. Of course, the Haas driver, which is Dennis Langrock's teammate. Cameron Dowd's in 7th at the moment. We only have 11 drivers left, and 10 of them will pick up points. I think Lucas Beisner is going to be the driver unlucky to miss out on points here today. But as Gabor Shontos heads past the halfway point of the final lap, it has been one to remember for the driver who recently joined R8G. He has huge potential, and well, he is exercising that to full effect right now. Rapasa 4.3 the gap between himself and Shontos, and you think about the fact that we built up the start of this race with, oh, they're so close together, everything is so well matched. The fact that Gabor, with no outside assistance, no DRS, just pure pace, has been able to build up that gap of 4.3 seconds is sensational. He will finish off Season 22 victorious in sensational style. Gabor Shontos, take a bow. Luca Rapasa will round out the podium with Aaron Dominguez. Ranielli drops off of it. Casper Flash takes P4. And Dennis Langrock just 2/10 off of the back of Ranielli. Then Dowd will take P7. And we will round out our field very, very quickly. Everybody well matched, apart from the man at the top, who thoroughly has deserved that victory. Stayed up there, took the gamble to stay out. The one-stop strategy for the Kick Sauber has worked. Gabor Shontos from 17th on the grid to victory.
Yeah, incredible drive by Gabor. I think pretty much picking every single strategy opportunity to absolute perfection, managing to hold on to the track position. When we had that safety car, he managed to gain so many positions, put himself right to the front of the field, and as a result has given himself the opportunity to fight for the victory and absolutely drive away with it here tonight. Most overtakes for him as well. Just shows what a strong drive it was for him here tonight.
Certainly was. Gabor Shontos taking the victory in this race. Luca Rapasa P2 and Aaron Dominguez from pole position down in 3rd place. Then Casper Flash, Pasquale Ranielli and Dennis Langrock before Dowds, Cavero, Kokeni and JST rounds out the points finishers. Lucas Beisner rounds out the finishers in total, and then Robert Sabrino, Bieda, Galonier, Leet and Joe Hannon round out the registered drivers. Then Rayan Bakar, Matthias Van Erven and Florian Van Zelter will round out the field in what has been a very, very, very good race to watch from pretty much all perspectives. But that'll be it from us here at World Online Racing for season number 22. We hope you've thoroughly enjoyed the entire campaign, whether you're a driver, whether you're a supporter, whether you're Cameron's dad. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, it is goodbye.